Last Sunday, my daughter-in-law Jessica cornered me at my son's birthday party and demanded I give her my grandmother's antique necklace, the one family heirloom I'd sworn never to part with. When I refused, she grabbed it from around my neck during our argument and the clasp broke. But as the necklace hit the floor, something impossible happened. The ornate locket at the center cracked open and a small brass key fell out. A key I'd never seen before, hidden inside a necklace I'd worn for 30 years. That key led me to a safety deposit box I didn't know existed, containing documents that would shatter everything I thought I knew about my family, my late husband, and the real reason Jessica had been so desperate to get her hands on that necklace. But here's what I didn't know. Jessica had been searching for that key for 2 years, and what she planned to do with what it unlocked would destroy my family forever unless I could stop her first. My name is Margaret Sullivan, and I'm about to tell you the most shocking story of my life. This isn't just about a family heirloom or a greedy daughter-in-law. It's about discovering that sometimes the people closest to us are living double lives, and sometimes the treasures we think we're protecting are actually protecting us. By the end of this story, you'll understand that family secrets have a way of revealing themselves at exactly the right moment, and that sometimes what looks like greed is actually desperation, born from a truth too dangerous to speak aloud. To understand why Jessica's demand for my necklace was so shocking, you need to know about the Sullivan family heirloom and the promise I made to my dying grandmother 50 years ago. The necklace had been in our family for over a century, an ornate Victorian piece with intricate gold filigree and a large oval locket at the center. My great-great-grandmother had brought it from Ireland when she immigrated to America in 1892, and it had been passed down through the women in our family ever since. When my grandmother was dying, she placed the necklace around my neck and made me promise to keep it in the family, to pass it down to the next generation when the time was right. This necklace has protected our family for generations, Margaret, she whispered. Promise me you'll keep it safe until you know who truly deserves it. As the necklace hit the floor, something impossible happened. The ornate locket at the center cracked open and a small brass key fell out. A key I'd never seen before, hidden inside a necklace I'd worn for 30 years. That key led me to a safety deposit box I didn't know existed, containing documents that would shatter everything I thought I knew about my family, my late husband, and the real reason Jessica had been so desperate to get her hands on that necklace. But here's what I didn't know. Jessica had been searching for that key for 2 years, and what she planned to do with what it unlocked would destroy my family forever unless I could stop her first. Okay, we all have them, right? So here's a moment to disconnect and clear your mind from any external distractions and actively focus on the sound of my voice as I describe the dynamics of the Sullivan family. I'd been married to my husband Thomas for 35 years when he died of a heart attack 3 years ago. We had one son, Michael, who married Jessica 5 years ago. From the beginning, Jessica had shown an unusual interest in family antiques and heirlooms. She would ask detailed questions about the history of various pieces, take photos of them for insurance purposes, and often comment on their potential value. I'd always found her interest a bit mercenary, but Michael seemed happy, so I kept my concerns to myself. After Thomas died, Jessica's interest in the family heirlooms intensified. She would bring up the necklace frequently, suggesting that it should be properly appraised or safely stored somewhere other than around my neck. Mom Sullivan, that necklace is so valuable. What if something happens to it while you're wearing it? Shouldn't it be in a safety deposit box or something?
Over the past 2 years, Jessica's hints had become increasingly direct. She'd started referring to the necklace as Michael's inheritance and suggesting that since I was getting older, it was time to pass it down to the next generation. After all, she'd say, I'm the only daughter-in-law. Who else would you give it to? But something about Jessica's urgency bothered me. My grandmother had said to give the necklace to someone who truly deserved it, and I wasn't convinced that Jessica's motives were pure. Michael, caught in the middle, would try to smooth things over, Mom, Jessica just wants to make sure the necklace stays in the family. Maybe she's right about getting it properly insured. But I held firm. The necklace stayed with me. Last Sunday was Michael's 32nd birthday. We were having a family gathering at his house. Just me, Michael, Jessica, and their 2 young children. It should have been a pleasant afternoon celebrating my son. But Jessica had other plans. After we'd eaten cake and opened presents, Jessica asked Michael to take the kids outside to play. Once we were alone in the kitchen, she turned to me with an expression I'd never seen before. Determined, almost desperate. Jessica, we need to talk about the necklace. Jessica, not today. It's Michael's birthday. That's exactly why we need to talk about it today. I've been patient for 2 years, but I can't wait anymore. Jessica, what are you talking about? I need that necklace, Margaret. Not want, need. And I need it today. I was taken aback by her intensity. Jessica, the necklace isn't going anywhere. When the time is right, the time is right now, she interrupted, her voice rising. You don't understand. There are things about that necklace, about your family, that you don't know. What things? Just give me the necklace and I'll explain everything. Something in her tone made me instinctively step back and put my hand protectively over the necklace. No, Jessica, if you have something to tell me now. But I'm not giving you my grandmother's necklace.
What happened next shocked me to my core. Jessica lunged forward and grabbed the necklace, trying to pull it over my head. Jessica, stop! What are you doing? I'm sorry, Margaret, but you don't understand how important this is. We struggled for a moment, both of us pulling on the delicate chain. I couldn't believe this was happening. My daughter-in-law was literally trying to steal my necklace from around my neck. Let go! I shouted, just as Michael came back inside. What's going on? He demanded, seeing us struggling. At that moment, the antique clasp gave way under the pressure. The necklace broke free and fell to the kitchen floor with a metallic clatter. As the necklace hit the tile floor, something extraordinary happened. The ornate locket at the center, which I'd assumed was purely decorative, cracked open along a seam I'd never noticed. And out fell a small brass key. All 3 of us stared at it in stunned silence. I'd worn that necklace almost every day for 30 years, and I'd never known there was anything hidden inside the locket. Jessica's face went white. Oh my God, she whispered. It was there the whole time. What was there? Michael asked, picking up the key. Mom, did you know about this? I shook my head, still in shock. I had no idea. I never knew the locket opened. Jessica was staring at the key like it was the most important thing in the world. Margaret, I need to explain something to you, something about your husband. What about Thomas? I asked, my heart starting to race. Jessica took a deep breath. Thomas wasn't who you thought he was, and that key is going to prove it. Michael looked between us, confused and concerned. Jessica, what are you talking about? Your father had secrets, big secrets, and I've been trying to find proof for 2 years. I felt like the ground was shifting beneath me. Jessica, Thomas has been dead for 3 years. What secrets could he possibly have had? The kind of secrets that could destroy this family if they came out. The kind of secrets that could send people to prison.
Jessica explained that she'd been working as a paralegal for a law firm that specialized in financial crimes. 2 years ago, she'd come across Thomas's name in connection with a case they were investigating. I couldn't believe it at first, she said. Thomas Sullivan, your husband, my father-in-law, was listed as a person of interest in a money laundering investigation. That's impossible, I said. Thomas was an accountant. He worked for the same firm for 20 years. That's exactly how he was able to do it, Margaret. He had access to client accounts. He understood how to move money around without detection. The FBI has been building a case against his former firm for years. Jessica pulled out her phone and showed me a document. This is a federal warrant for a safety deposit box registered under Thomas Sullivan. They've been looking for the key to that box for 3 years. I stared at the key in Michael's hand, trying to process what Jessica was telling me. You're saying my husband was a criminal? I'm saying your husband was involved in something that could implicate all of us. If the FBI finds that safety deposit box and discovers evidence of money laundering, they could seize all of your assets, the house, the savings accounts, everything. Michael looked stunned. Jessica, why didn't you tell us about this before? Because I was hoping I was wrong. I was hoping that if I could find the key and see what was in that box, I could prove that Thomas was innocent, or at least find a way to protect the family from the consequences. So, what are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we go to that safety deposit box together, see what's inside, and figure out how to handle this before the FBI finds it. And if we find evidence that Thomas was guilty, Jessica's expression was grim, then we destroy it before it can destroy this family. I looked at my son, who was holding the key that could either clear his father's name or confirm his guilt. Either way, our family would never be the same. Michael, what do you think we should do? He was quiet for a long moment. I think we need to know the truth, whatever it is. The next morning, the three of us drove to First National Bank downtown. Jessica had called ahead and confirmed that there was indeed a safety deposit box registered under Thomas Sullivan's name and that it had been inactive since his death. My hands were shaking as I presented Thomas's death certificate and my identification to the bank manager. As his widow, I had legal access to the box, but I wasn't sure I wanted to know what was inside. The bank manager led us to the vault, where she used her key along with the brass key from my necklace to open box 247. Inside was a manila envelope and a small wooden box.
I opened the manila envelope first. Inside were financial documents, bank statements, and what looked like transaction records. But as I read through them, I realized they weren't evidence of Thomas's crimes. They were evidence of his investigation into someone else's crimes. "Jessica," I said, my voice shaking, "these aren't records of money laundering. These are records of Thomas tracking money laundering." The document showed that Thomas had discovered irregularities in his firm's client accounts and had been secretly documenting them for months before his death. He'd been building a case against his own employers. He was going to turn them in, Michael said, reading over my shoulder. Dad was going to expose the whole operation. Inside the wooden box was something even more shocking, a letter addressed to me, along with a small recording device. The letter was in Thomas's handwriting. "My dearest Margaret, if you're reading this, it means something has happened to me, and you found the key I hid in your grandmother's necklace. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you about this while I was alive, but I was trying to protect you and Michael from the danger I was in. I've discovered that my firm has been laundering money for organized crime for years. I've been gathering evidence to turn over to the FBI, but I know that if the wrong people find out what I'm doing, they'll try to stop me. The recording device contains conversations I secretly recorded with my partners discussing their illegal activities. The documents are copies of financial records that prove the money laundering operation. I've hidden this evidence here because I knew that if something happened to me, you would eventually find it. Your grandmother's necklace was the perfect hiding place, something precious that you would never lose or give away. If you're reading this, please take this evidence to the FBI. Help me finish what I started. Don't let these criminals get away with what they've done. I love you more than life itself. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from this, but I trust you to do the right thing. Forever yours, Thomas." With trembling hands, I pressed play on the recording device. Thomas's voice filled the small bank vault, along with the voices of his business partners discussing illegal transactions, client accounts being used to hide criminal proceeds, and their plans to eliminate anyone who might expose them. The final recording was the most chilling. It was Thomas,
confronting his partners about the money laundering, telling them he was going to the authorities. "You're making a big mistake, Thomas," one of them said. "People who threaten this operation tend to have accidents." "Are you threatening me?" Thomas asked. "I'm warning you. Drop this investigation or you'll regret it." The recording ended there. Jessica was staring at the recording device with a look of horror. "Margaret, I think Thomas's death wasn't an accident." "What do you mean?" "The car accident that killed him? What if it wasn't really an accident? What if they made good on their threat?" I felt sick to my stomach. The idea that Thomas might have been murdered for trying to do the right thing was almost too much to bear. "We need to take this to the FBI," Michael said. "We need to finish what Dad started." "There's something else I need to tell you," Jessica said quietly. "Something I haven't been completely honest about." "What now?" I asked, not sure I could handle any more revelations. "I didn't just stumble across Thomas's name in a case file at work. I was specifically assigned to investigate him." "What do you mean?" "The FBI has been watching this family for 3 years, waiting for someone to lead them to the evidence Thomas gathered. They knew he had been investigating the money laundering, and they suspected he had hidden evidence somewhere." "So you married Michael to spy on our family?" Jessica's eyes filled with tears. "No, Margaret, I married Michael because I love him. But when I was assigned to this case, I realized I had a choice. I could help the FBI find the evidence and clear Thomas's name, or I could let them continue to suspect that he was part of the criminal operation."
Jessica, are you saying you're an FBI agent? I'm a paralegal who works with the FBI on financial crimes. When they realized I was married to Thomas Sullivan's son, they asked me to help with the investigation. And you've been looking for this key for 2 years? I've been trying to find the evidence that would prove Thomas was a hero, not a criminal. I knew that if I could find what he had hidden, I could clear his name and protect this family from prosecution. Michael looked stunned. "Jessica, you've been lying to me for 2 years? I've been protecting you for 2 years. If the FBI had found evidence that your father was part of the money laundering operation, you could have been charged as an accessory. Your inheritance could have been seized as proceeds of crime." "So what happens now?" I asked. "Now we turn this evidence over to the FBI, and they use it to prosecute the real criminals. Thomas's name will be cleared, and he'll be remembered as the hero he was. And our family? Your family will be safe. The evidence proves that Thomas was working against the criminal operation, not with it. You're victims, not perpetrators." I looked at the key that had started this whole revelation, the key that had been hidden in my grandmother's necklace for 3 years, waiting for the right moment to reveal the truth. "Jessica, I owe you an apology. I thought you were trying to steal from our family, but you were actually trying to save it." The next day, Jessica arranged for us to meet with the FBI agents who had been investigating the case. We turned over all of Thomas's evidence, the documents, the recordings, and the letter explaining his investigation. Agent Sarah Chen, who had been leading the investigation, was amazed by what Thomas had gathered. "Mrs. Sullivan, your husband collected more evidence in 6 months than we've been able to gather in 3 years. This is going to break the case wide open." "What about Thomas's death?" I asked. "Do you think it really was an accident?" Agent Chen exchanged a look with her partner. "We've always had suspicions about the timing of your husband's accident. With this new evidence, we're going to reopen the investigation into his death."
Within 2 weeks, the FBI had arrested 5 people connected to the money laundering operation, including Thomas's former business partners. The evidence he had gathered was so comprehensive that most of them pled guilty rather than face trial. The investigation into Thomas's death revealed that his car had been tampered with. The brake lines had been cut, causing the accident that killed him. 2 additional arrests were made for his murder. Thomas Sullivan was posthumously recognized by the FBI for his courage in exposing the criminal operation, even though he knew it put his life at risk. The revelation about Jessica's true role in our family was difficult for Michael to process. He felt betrayed that she had kept such a huge secret from him, even though she had done it to protect him. "I understand why you did it," he told her during one of our family meetings, "but I wish you had trusted me enough to tell me the truth." "I wanted to tell you so many times," Jessica replied, "but I was afraid that if you knew, you might accidentally say something that would compromise the investigation. I was trying to protect you and your mother." It took months of counseling and honest conversation, but eventually Michael and Jessica were able to rebuild their trust. Their marriage is stronger now, built on complete honesty instead of protective secrets. I had the antique necklace repaired, but I decided not to have the locket sealed shut again. Instead, I had it modified so that it could be opened easily, as a reminder that family heirlooms sometimes hold more than just sentimental value. The necklace now sits in a place of honor in my living room, along with a framed copy of the FBI's commendation for Thomas's bravery. It's no longer just a family heirloom. It's a symbol of courage, truth, and the lengths people will go to protect the ones they love. This experience taught me that people we love sometimes keep secrets from us, not because they don't trust us, but because they're trying to protect us from dangers we don't even know exist. Thomas kept his investigation secret because he knew that if the criminals discovered what he was doing, they might target our entire family. He hid the evidence in my necklace because he knew I would never lose it or give it away, and that someday, when it was safe, the truth would be revealed. Jessica kept her FBI connection secret because she knew that if Michael or I had known about the investigation, we might have inadvertently compromised it. She was willing to let me think badly of her rather than risk exposing the operation that would clear Thomas's name.
The money laundering case that Thomas helped expose led to the recovery of over $50 million in stolen funds. Much of that money was returned to the victims of the crimes, small businesses and individuals who had been defrauded by the criminal organization. Thomas's courage in gathering evidence, even at the cost of his own life, helped bring justice to dozens of victims and put dangerous criminals behind bars. The FBI has used Thomas's case as a training example for other investigations, showing how civilian witnesses can play a crucial role in exposing financial crimes. Today, 3 years after finding the key in my grandmother's necklace, our family is closer than ever. Michael and Jessica have 2 beautiful children who will grow up knowing that their grandfather was a hero who died protecting others. Jessica continues to work with the FBI on financial crimes, using her experience with our case to help other families who have been affected by similar situations. I've become an advocate for families of whistleblowers, helping them understand their rights and access support services when their loved ones expose criminal activity. Last month, I made a decision about the necklace's future. Instead of waiting for some undefined right time to pass it down, I gave it to Jessica. "But Margaret," she protested, "I'm not a blood relative. Shouldn't it go to one of the children?" "Jessica, you risked everything to protect this family and clear Thomas's name. You've earned the right to be the keeper of our family's most precious heirloom. Besides," I added with a smile, "my grandmother said to give it to someone who truly deserved it. I can't think of anyone who deserves it more than you. But there's one more thing about this story that I haven't told you yet, something I discovered just last week that makes me believe the necklace still has secrets to reveal. Because when I was researching the history of the necklace for an insurance appraisal, I found something that changed everything I thought I knew about my family's past. I found a ship's manifest from 1892 listing the passengers who traveled from Ireland to America. My great-great-grandmother's name was there, but so was something else, a note in the margin that said carrying valuable documents for the Irish Republican Brotherhood. The Irish Republican Brotherhood was a secret organization fighting for Irish independence. If my great-great-grandmother was carrying documents for them, it means our family has a history of protecting dangerous secrets that goes back over a century. And if that's true, then the necklace wasn't just a random hiding place for Thomas's evidence. It was continuing a family tradition of safeguarding information that could change the course of history. I've started researching what those documents might have been,
And what happened to them after my great-great-grandmother arrived in America? Because if they're still hidden somewhere, waiting to be discovered like Thomas's key was, well, that's a mystery that might take the rest of my life to solve. But knowing my family's history of keeping dangerous secrets safe, I have a feeling those documents are exactly where they need to be, waiting for the right moment to reveal the truth, just like everything else in the Sullivan family.